So let's move over to let's talk a little bit about the debate last night. We won't go way too into this. I'm sure people have been inundated with like opinions on it, and depending upon where you align, it's like, oh, Kamala crushed him. Oh, Trump, you nailed her. Everybody's going to have an extreme opinion one way or the other. But I think we both kind of feel the same way that Trump didn't do as well as we would have hoped. But I think it also is up to, and again, not to get political, but if you're watching this show, I mean, we're pretty much going to be like a one issue vote, I mean, that's just kind of where we are. And it sucks that crypto and some monetary things like that have to be politicized, because it should be, it shouldn't be down to parties, you know what I mean? But it is. I mean, Democrats are actively ignoring it, and when it comes to people like Elizabeth Warren, are actively actually trying to get legislation passed to hurt and drive crypto out. Biden has been very anti-crypto. Trump, I don't think, is any kind of crypto expert, obviously, but I think he at least doesn't care at the very least and is going to leave it alone. His sons seem like they're meddling in a lot of DeFi stuff, so that's cool anyway. But yeah, I think the moderators really stole the show last night. I think that they were, as far as, not that I'm like a debate aficionado, I actually kind of hate them, to be honest. They are sometimes pretty entertaining and fun. Like the Biden Trump one was fun. I thought that was funny. It was fun to watch. That was cool. Last night, because Kamala at least can like speak and stuff like that, it was a little bit of a different, vibe. The 2020 ones I thought were horrible. I couldn't even watch those at all. But the moderators like clearly were going at Trump. But I think Trump, I also, though, some of the Republicans or Trump himself or some of the people that are voting for Trump and stuff like that shouldn't just do this victim thing where it's like, oh, the moderators. I mean, yeah, they were horrible. I think it was definitely 3-against-1. And I don't think it was a fair fight in that regard. But also, he just kept kind of stepping in shit constantly. Like it was airmailed many times that she was just kind of trying to bait him into having arguments about, oh, what people aren't leaving my rallies and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? Why are we talking about this? Like throwing him off and him just taking the bait and going into it. And I think that's just his ego. That's always been kind of a, blessing and a curse, obviously, for the guy. But for some of the parts, like just looking at the moderators, like that Dave Muir guy or whatever, the male moderator, literally getting like into it with Trump at one point, telling him when he was talking about whether or not he won the debate or won the election by a whisker, saying the phrase, I think you saw this video from Megyn Kelly. He said the phrase, I didn't hear sarcasm in that. Like he's arguing with Trump about his opinion about something that Trump said before. Like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? This has nothing to do with the debate. And nobody cares about your opinion, just absolutely wild. But like, kudos to Trump for like his bravery for wanting to like go into a hornet's nest like that. I mean, I think it is good of him that he at least tried to do that, but maybe it is stupid. Maybe it is stupid to go into environments like that where it's going to be set up like that, especially if you can't put your foot in your mouth and not get butthurt over, oh, your rallies suck or whatever. Like, just move on, So, yeah, I don't know if you had any takeaways from it, but
well, yeah, I did. I mean, I do agree. The moderators definitely made it a 3-versus-1 show. The fact checking was being done for him, but not her. There was a lot of things that, she didn't answer many questions either. It turned into well, I grew up very poor in a small whatever town, and my mom worked really, so that didn't answer the question. So, I just felt like a lot of deflecting, a lot of baiting. And unfortunately, he took the bait a couple times. That didn't help him. So, and then I don't know if you saw this or not, but apparently she was wearing these earrings that were supposed to be recording or listening devices or speaking devices, where there could have been somebody in her ear.
I think
it also
sounded, I didn't really read it, but yeah.
Okay. It also sounded like, she was very well versed for the questions, whether she had them ahead of time. Apparently the owner or manager or CEO of ABC is the one that introduced her and her husband. And yes, I do think she got a lot of the questions ahead of time. So she was very well hurt. But again, it's a debate, right? They're going to ask the same questions. They're going to talk about the border. They're going to talk about the abortion policy. They're going to talk about a lot of that stuff that's already been brought up. But you know, again, when these things get brought up about Project 2025, which he claims he has nothing to do with, he didn't write it.
Yeah.
He had nothing to do with it. He says he hasn't even read it. The fact checking has to be done by both sides, right? You can't call him out on a lie when she's standing there blatantly telling lies too about how she's flip-flopped on a lot of her policies. Like, why? I wanted to hear that. Why did you change? If you're not against gun control like you were 3 years ago, why? If you're not against fracking like you were 3 years ago, why? Like, so there's a lot of questions that I didn't have answered that I thought maybe should be. Now she's wanting to have another debate because she feels strongly about it. Of course she does. But again, he needs to be careful and do it on his terms this time. You know, that these were all their terms, the Democrats' terms. I don't know that he gets a fair anything these days. Just even Fox News they're the most on his side coverage that he would get, but I don't think any of mainstream media could give a fair type of thing. And right. You know, looking back on it, when you look at the one that was on CNN, right, with Biden.
Oh yeah.
It almost leads me to believe that they didn't help him, but now I think about it and was like, well, was that intentional?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Of the reason to get rid of him.
I think that was, people were thinking that 24 hours after. Yeah. And I believe that too. I think that because they had Biden so heavily like manipulated with whatever on like State of the Union addresses and stuff like that before. And then he just came out full Biden on that debate. And it seemed intentional to me. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know that another debate is necessary or good, or, you know, at this point, I think people have either made up their mind or they're not going to. You know, right. There was a lot of times up there that I said, man, RFK, wish he was up there because he would have had the answers to a lot of those questions. You know, he's a lot smoother of a talker, even though he's hard to listen to with his voice. But he is pretty quick. Or even somebody like Vivek.
Yeah.
You know,
oh yeah.
He's a very quick thinker too.
I
feel bad that he took the bait on a lot of things. So
I do too. I was gonna say, I don't think Trump is a great debater. I think he's had, you know, he's been fortunate to, you know, go up against Hillary Clinton, who no one likes, Biden, who is gone, and then, you know, now Kamala is at least able to, like, she has had good looking debate moments in the past. And yeah, it definitely seemed like she was very prepared and that there was something already going on between the moderators and her. But again, Trump hurt himself as well. I don't want to play a victim here, and I don't think the Republicans or Trump should be playing a victim in this whole thing. Yeah. And you bring up an interesting point. Are people really even swayed by these? I mean, I think this is just kind of, you know, the tabloids of the election, basically. It's like, if you're voting on a policy, your mind is made up. I really don't care at all. I mean, I care for entertainment purposes. That's purely why we were going to watch it. But other than that, I mean, there's nothing that's going to happen in these debates that's going to make me change my vote or anything, you know?
No. And remember, she's a lawyer. She was a lawyer, or the prosecutor, district attorney, whatever. She knows how to bait people. So she is skilled at that, whether she's got any policy or any ideas of policy. You know, that's another thing that we haven't heard. What are your policies going to be? She skirts around it an awful lot, so we really don't even know. At least we know what we get with him, right? We've had it before. Right. With her, it's either more of the same or you're going to change it, but we don't know to change it to what. So I think that's kind of where we're at, and you know, see what happens.
One thing I will say, and again, I mean, sometimes this isn't a popular opinion because people are just so hot with all this political stuff right now. Yes, obviously, if you are somebody who is more freedom-minded and enjoys, you know, more money in your pockets through less taxes and less government in your life and is pro-crypto, you want to vote for Trump. I mean, obviously. But we have to realize that everything about the success of crypto and this cycle in particular and all these things do not hinge on this election. We have to remember that Bitcoin has seen many years of a Democrat in power with Barack Obama, obviously. Now you can argue that that party's gotten way, way worse since then, but still, I mean, we have to remember that this stuff is still here. There is still innovation being done. Yes, I do think that there are Democrats actively trying to stifle it so they can, maintain their kind of ruling class. And not even just Democrats, there's Republicans too. I mean, the uniparty is a real thing. I mean, 100%. I think that's why a candidate like Trump, for his misgivings, is popular to many people, because he's not part of that, really. He's the most anti-uniparty guy anyway that we've seen in a really long time, and then like RFK, of course, joining him, and Tulsi Gabbard and stuff like that. But we have to remember, like, if Kamala wins this election somehow, that doesn't mean it's the death of crypto. Now, if Elizabeth Warren somehow did, maybe, I don't know. But a lot of the things that she's proposing is not going to get by Congress. We just have to realize, like, everybody has heightened emotions right now and are terrified of what's going to happen and think that it's going to, like, hurt their bags right here, right now. And I think we just need to bring the emotions down overall when it comes to that stuff. That said, vote for the candidate that you think is going to help crypto. And I'd say 99% of people would think that's Donald Trump, obviously. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Agree.
Did you have any fun? I don't want to go way too further into this. Did you have any thoughts about RH was tweeting like a madman during this? I mean, he was basically live tweeting it with his visceral reactions, which was kind of interesting. I don't know if you had any takeaways from anything that he was saying during this, but yeah, he was really going in on the
no, I was getting a kick out of it. He was live tweeting it. I mean, he must have been using voice text or something, because he was on top of it. Or he is a very fast typer, so it could have been that as well. I wish he would have live streamed it and done it that way. That would have been interesting to see.
Right. Yeah.
But again, we haven't seen him live stream in quite some time. Yeah, there were a couple points where he brought up and said, "Hey man, I wish you would talk about this. Hey man, I wish you would talk about this." And sure enough, it did come up. So, right. He said at one point, I know you're telepathically, or I forget how he existentially reading my mind or reading my tweets while you're there, but just the way he said it, it was pretty funny. So yeah, I got a kick out of it. You can clearly tell who he's rooting for, even though he's not.
Well, he flat out very strongly endorsed him. Actually, yes. I don't know. It took the assassination attempt, I think. Oh, we probably just got demonetized. Sorry. Yeah. But it probably took the assassination, or I think he was saying it shortly after the assassination attempt. Yeah. I mean, he has seen pro-Trump in the past. I know he liked Vivek and stuff like that, but yeah, RH has been obviously supporting Trump for some time now. So yeah. Anyway, that's the debate.
How about you? Did you have any takes from his comments?
I was surprised just how much he tweeted about it, honestly. Just how insane he went in on it. I mean, he was like really, really interested in it. I don't know. I was just surprised by that, I guess. After a while, I couldn't really keep up because I was trying to watch it myself. But, I guess for me, it's kind of just redundant, because I'm like, yeah, I mean, I agree with all of this, and what you're saying is happening is what I feel like I'm witnessing as well. So, yeah.
I think one of his major points is that if Trump does win, the SEC will pretty much probably be dismantled. And that's kind of what we're all hoping for. In a best case scenario. So whether or not Kamala would change people or change roles of those people, I don't know if that would happen or not. Most of the time, a new president appoints people and doesn't really. Trump said it again last night, is they don't fire people, right? People that are doing a bad job, they don't ever fire them. So I kind of see more of the same with that administration change. Whereas if at least I think Trump would switch some figures in those positions.
That's really the main thing. Is it's not as if like, Trump gets elected and Bitcoin goes to 250K, Kamala gets elected and we top out at 90. It's not like some kind of thing like that. But I mean, it is, he would have the incentive to disband the SEC or at least reform it and stuff like that. You saw what he did with the justices during his tenure, which was huge. Like Democrats let Ruth Bader Ginsburg be there forever, and then she passes away and he gets to appoint whoever he wants to. You know what I mean? So there's things like that are going to happen, like huge administrative changes and things like that. So that's really what you have to look forward to based on the election. So will be interesting to see how things kind of play out here over the next few months. But we are less than 2 months away.